Welcome back to the Nicola Collective Podcast with your host, Emilio.
And Olivia Nicola.
And we are going to go through our next 4-part series, and guess what it's called?
Prepared for Purpose.
So when we really look about everything that goes along with preparation and business and everything like that, we can't just start from nowhere, right? We can't just be successful like that. You know, God allows us to be grown. God trains us up. He strengthens us. So he prepares us. He equips us in all these things. And that's where a lot of the success comes from. It's not instantaneous. Yes, God is a God of miracles, but he most of the time will not just give you something when you're not prepared for it. He will equip you and he will qualify you over time, but he's not going to just give it to you without that. The thing that he does give to us freely without question and without even deserving it, without working for it, is salvation. But when it comes to other things, we do need to steward things wisely. We need to be smart and strategic and follow his direction in order to receive. You know,
it's like the faith without works thing. It's dead.
Yeah, and faith without works being dead is really about how, like some might say that it's about the sanctification and justification. But another is that your works is the proof of your faith. How you steward things proves what you believe and how you believe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm just being an idiot, you know, sleeping in bed all day, you know, till 4 p.m. or something like that. And then, oh yeah, I'm going to go play video games. And then, oh yeah, maybe I'll go, you know, grab Taco Bell and then go do all the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
And then expect people to, you know, serve my business or be served by my business. But I'm not doing anything. What does that say about it, right?
Yeah.
And in the same instance, if I'm like, let's bring it to our walks with God. If I am completely avoiding God, if I'm not talking to God, if I'm not reading the word, if I'm not even connecting with him, but I'm expecting everything from him, like that's ridiculous. What would happen if I expected that of Olivia?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what would you do if I just, you know, sat around all day and just fell asleep for hours and hours and hours? Oh yeah,
I wouldn't respect you.
Exactly. But the other part is that you wouldn't be able to give me anything at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't be able to do things with me. You wouldn't have the same relationship. So how I would be able to call upon you. Like, it's like, hey, I need your help or something like that. It's like, okay, I don't know what to help you with because you don't communicate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Communication is key. And that's
You're
part of the
asking
preparation.
God, hey, can you bless me with this? Hey, God, can you help me have the strength to do this? And you start with the little bit that you have. Like we've talked about this before. Whatever you have that's a little bit, God uses that. And then from there propels you and blesses you with more and more based off of like what you're doing with the little.
Yeah.
And there's the verse.
Luke 16:10.
Yeah, it's like Luke 16:10. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. So the little bit that you have can be turned into a lot with faith, with works, with all of it. You know what I mean?
Notice how the people that win the lottery, they typically squander it really fast. I want to say at least 70 to 80% of the time, maybe even higher, 90%. They get rid of the money. They burn through the money so fast because they were not equipped to handle it. Sure, they were blessed with it, quote unquote. And I guess you can consider that a blessing in some aspects. But at the same time, they didn't equip themselves. They didn't spend time understanding how to manage that finance.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, they're like, oh yeah, $1 million, whatever. I'm going to go buy that $1 million thing, or I'm going to go buy this. It's like, dude, you should really understand these things first before you get to it. And that's kind of why like preparation is imperative.
Yeah.
You know, so we could think about like the things that we commit to God. You know, when we commit to God, when we commit the things that we do to the Lord, he will establish things.
Yeah.
You know, and you could talk about, you know, Proverbs 16:3, and I'll read that right now. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. You know, like whenever you're thinking about doing business, whenever you're thinking about education or, you know, work or anything in regards to literally everything, you know, committing it to God allows you to have a full covering of things, a full spiritual covering, a full covering of the Father, you know, the Father's love.
I think we just have to focus on making, or before starting your business, having practical steps to kind of follow and pursuing that beforehand before you even start, so that you're able to know what you're walking into if that makes sense.
Yeah, because if we look at like even Exodus, right? We could talk about Bezalel. God didn't just say, "Here's your assignment. There you go." God filled him. God prepared him before getting into it. And even with Gideon, and that's the one where it's like Gideon was constantly testing God. And no, you shouldn't be testing God, but Gideon was testing God in all these different ways. Like, oh yeah, make the wool wet and the ground dry beneath it, and then the ground wet and the wool dry above it, and then all these different things. But there was preparation in the process. It's like there were some things that you might see, like if you were Gideon, you would be like, the heck is this?
Yeah.
This is such a weird thing. And yet that's like the preparation. Sometimes the preparation is a little bit strange, is a little bit unconventional, but sometimes it's on the conventional side where it's like, all right, I needed to understand and prepare to walk into these things and trust that God has it. No matter what position of preparation I'm in, I am ready because the Lord goes before me.
Yeah. You have to have skill and spirit to be able to earn God's trust, in the sense of like being able to have, the technical skills to do something, right? But then at the same time, have the faith to trust that God's going to get you through it or help you with whatever you need. So in this case, it's like when starting a business, you have to be able to like, know what you're doing. You can't just be walking into something and not know anything about what you're doing or the business you're in or whatever. Like, obviously, there's so many people, it's kind of funny, who are just like, well, I don't really need to know because God's got this. God's got this. And I'm just like, I get it, because it's like they have like so much faith that God's got it. But then again, it's like if you don't know anything about what you're what you're doing, it's kind of like you have to have both. You have to like, and even let's just say you're not the best at something, but you feel it on your heart to do it. God can make up the rest for you, but as long as you are putting in the effort, because I feel like a lot of the times people just expect God to make up the effort for them, when in reality it's like it doesn't work like that. It's not, God's not like a genie who grants our every wish. It's like he wants to see you put in the time and the effort and develop the skill, develop the craft.
Could you imagine if people had faith only and no skill when they were driving, like learning how to drive? Oh yeah, I got this. God's got me. Okay, whatever. In the beginning, you weren't good. You trained to become a better driver, so you don't get into car accidents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the simplest thing that you could really think of.
I know people who like pray before they drive.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing to do, because you need to, with how many crazy drivers there are, you need that preparation. You need that prayer to cover you. But the other part of it is that God doesn't bless the confusion that people get into. He blesses order. So you need to make sure that you are not, I mean, yes, like faith and spiritual, like being spirit filled doesn't mean that you have to be working around the whole entire structure, like hardcore structure, but it means that you follow an order, a preparation to make sure that things run smoothly. Imagine a sound team. If they just turned everybody up level, it wouldn't sound good. Yeah. But in preparation, in the sound check, they're like, all right, this part of EQ, you know what I mean? We need to adjust these frequencies. We need to adjust the gain here. We need to, you know what I mean? Little things like that. And that makes a full ensemble. Yeah. There's different keys, different elements in each thing, and someone needs to conduct it and someone needs to prepare it. And if things aren't prepared, it's going to be really bad.
Yeah, you have to, there's certain steps, like I said, build, like budgeting, having like habits that you start getting into place, just building out your systems before you start. So in the next episode, I think we're kind of going to talk about that more so. Having like
strategy,
having a strategy to build out your business before it starts.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the strategy, you can't build publicly what you compromise privately. Yeah. You have to know what's going on behind the scenes yourself. You know what I mean? To be able to project that to anybody. I'm not saying project in a weird way. What I'm saying is like to be able to deliver something to somebody.
Yeah. And one of the most the best ways to do that. And I think the biggest concern people have before they start a business is the financials of everything.
So let's get into the nitty gritty. Learning to plan with wisdom and not just presumption. You know what I mean? You don't want to just think, oh yeah, I could just do it because I could do it. I got God, whatever. I could do everything. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It's like, yes, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. But if you're doing it on your own strength, are you really doing it through Christ?
Yeah.
You know, if you're just doing it blindly, I mean, you know, you have to prepare. So one thing that we can really look at is Proverbs 21:5. I'm going to read that. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. When you're diligently and deliberately stewarding something wisely, there's a lot of things that can come about. And we're not talking about, I mean, obviously life can happen. You know, there's a lot of things that happen in life. But when you steward something wisely, just like when you're in school, like when you're taking tests, you are learning what you're trying to achieve, right? And you go to the test and now you know the equation. Now you know what the history was. Now you know whatever you're being asked of because you studied, you prepared, and now you understand.
That's a really good example. I used to dread doing that in school. But honestly, I noticed that when I did, I was able to achieve more and remember more, and just overall, like, it didn't hurt me at all to study, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes you're not always going to be prepared for every single question on the test, right? But it's like, if you study and you know the basics of everything and you're able to, like, just understand the general, you're able to, the general like idea of something, you're able to put it into practice in the sense of, like, yeah, you might not get all the questions right, but you're going to do well for the most part and learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things that God allows us to go through, is to build strength through resistance. You know, you could look at people who go to the gym. You could look at people who, you know, who are in marketing, all these different things. Sometimes you don't learn by what's great. Sometimes you learn from what's hard. You know, you don't build muscle from lifting. You don't build muscle by lifting 2-pound weights for 20 years. You know, you step up, you add on the weight. There's more resistance to it. You know, you don't build strength in marketing if everything that you're doing is, you know, good, or everything that you're doing is bad. You have to understand you have to analyze things, understand the analytics. So you have to understand what the system is, who's viewing what, you know, what's actually reaching, what's standing out to people. Yeah. And that's all from actually stewarding, being in that environment, you know?
Yeah. And I think really just having the endurance to do that is the biggest, you know, key. Because it's like most people will give up once they realize it's hard. They're like, oh shoot, why am I doing this? But it's like, if you push through, and the plan keeps you from giving up. Like, when you have plans, it helps you to just go right back into it, like it's routine. So it's like people at the gym, it's like hitting certain days, like leg day, arm day, this day, you know, and then it's like they stick to it because they had designed specific times to do something, and they stick with that because it's a plan.
It's consistent,
and it's consistent. It works, and they don't have to think too much about it when they're following through on it.
They're not overthinking, and it's producing results.
Yes. So you think beforehand, and then you do. Yeah. And especially, like we said, when it comes to finances, that is the biggest stressor for most people when starting a business. So it's like, how will we prepare finances to start a business?
Well, first off, you can't be reckless. Yeah. Recklessness is not faith. And we got to be clear about that. Just because you trust in God, just because you have faith in God, doesn't mean you could squander your finances or you could put all your eggs in one basket. You know, we're talking about true stewardship. Yeah. You have to count the cost. You have to understand what's going to cost in all these different ways, whether it's costing your time, costing your money, costing your, like, even potentially relationships. Okay. What's it going to do to get this thing afloat and steward it wisely? What are the sacrifices that you have to make? You know what I mean? And those are the costs that you have to count, because if you don't, you're going to be burnt out.
It's not just financials. There's like a lot of different things that people don't realize that they have to give up or kind of, I don't want to say neglect, but in certain ways you do neglect certain things because of like, you know, like before when you had your full-time job, you would just come home and you would be done with work. And that's that. You don't have to worry about it for the rest of the night until you go back to work and when you're there.
Sometimes you have to sacrifice having fun in order to make sure something works.
But here it's like now it's like you can work whenever you want to. There's not a time where you just completely shut off your computer, your phone, and don't really work. You can work at all points of the day and throughout the night.
And the great thing is, like, when you're prepared both mentally, spiritually, you're staying filled, you're taking everything to God, you're spending time with him, you won't feel that burnout. You'll feel joy when you like go to work. You'll feel like, okay, I might have a little bit of like resistance to want to work, because who really wants to work all the time?
That's like you.
But at the same time, you could be like, hey, like, I get to do this today. I get to do this today. I get, like, God's blessing me with this. I have a roof over my head. And you start counting the blessings. Like, it's the more time you spend with the Lord, the more times you will find yourself looking at all the blessings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The blessings become more clear. And yes, sometimes you get caught up in them and then you might forget once in a while.
Yeah.
But overall, you're able to witness what God's doing in your life.
Yeah. So one of the best practical steps I could probably give for how to prepare with your financials is to create a budget sheet or budget template, whatever. Yeah, a sheet of your expenses, what you need, how much it's going to cost. Write all of that down and then weigh whether or not things are worth it or you actually need them. Because a lot of the times when people start a business, they think they need so many different things when in reality, you really probably don't, you know? And it's like a lot of things are overrated. So you need to kind of weigh that and see, do I really need this? Because honestly, sometimes you won't. And I think you'll be able to save a lot of money by doing so. Obviously, in the beginning, you're going to have to pay for certain things. You're going to have to...
there's overhead costs.
There's overhead costs, you know, but if you know what you're doing... See, I could get into it too with like taxes and all that crap, but it's like, you know that you can... These are just business expenses that can be taken care of at the end of the year. So it's
if
like...
you do things right, there's a lot of things that you can get written off, and we're not financial experts.
We're not we're
not advisors in any way.
There's just, there's a lot of things that you can do to be able to save money and to budget efficiently. So yeah, that is my biggest piece of advice, is to get a budget template, to start tracking every single thing that you are buying, all of your expenses, because that will save you so much money and it will help you see it right in front of you. Because I remember, like, I know when I write things down, I just went through all of that financial stuff and I saw, oh my gosh, we spent this on this and this on this. And it's like, there's a lot of different expenses that people don't even realize. But I'm like, oh, we can cut this out. We can cut that out. You know what I mean? Like, how you can save money. That will be your biggest friend, your best friend, honestly.
Yeah, because it'll save you the headache in a lot of different ways. You know what I mean? At the same time, you'll also be able to witness, like, firsthand how your business is growing, or if it is growing, or if it's going down, and what you have to do to be able to bring it back up. It helps you financially understand what's going on. You know, and that's why we suggest to do that. I mean, it's, how would I put it? When you analyze your business, when you analyze the things that you're doing, you're able to see, like, well, I'm in a surplus season, or hey, I'm kind of in a plateau, or I'm actually kind of going under. And when you're in those moments, like, say you're in the surplus, you get excited because you're like, yeah, I'm doing great. I want to do more stuff. I want to do this. You know what I mean? I get to go here. I get to get this thing.
But you got to prepare.
But you have to prepare, because guess what? Surplus seasons are surplus for a reason, you know, and you can look back to Joseph. You know what I mean? There was the 7 years of famine and everything like that. It's like, well, he had a dream about it, and look, people were confused, but he prepared for it. He had the people prepare. And he was like, all right, let's store up.
It's not a time to go buy a new car, typically, unless you're balling out and have so much money and like you know what I mean. It's like you
can treat yourself here and there, but
not. Yeah,
but
it's
don't
like,
blow everything, and don't live above your means. Live within your means.
Yeah.
And
No.
in your surplus season, that's also the time where you're able to bless others. So in those moments, get deeper into prayer, because God could be telling you to give some of that to somebody in need, or maybe bless somebody in another way, or just in general, like, hey, God's telling you to save this because there could be a time coming up that you're going to need it. There's been so many times where people have mentioned that God rescued them financially, where it's like at the end of the month, they did not have enough to make rent or enough to pay their utilities. And somehow God just came through and said, here's exactly what you needed.
Yeah.
Or like, there's so many different things.
Yeah. And also, I think another really good preparation tool is to talk to people, but be very careful with who you talk to about your business plans and all of that, because
understand who could be wise counsel,
understand your wise counsel, your accountability partners around you for doing so. And I know not everybody has people around them that are like entrepreneurs, or let alone Christian entrepreneurs, but it's like, be accountable by talking to the right people about it, whether it be like a therapist or a your mom or your dad or your pastor or like something like that, your mentor, husband, your wife, whatever, if you're not doing the business with them, you know what I mean? But have that, because that will help you keep that accountability of like, yeah, I'm gonna follow through with this, because sometimes when things get hard, we're like, I'm not going to do it. And it's fine because nobody knows that I was even going to do it anyway. But it's like, if people know that you're going to do it, they're going to hold you accountable to that. And I think that's really valuable, because it's like, it makes you not want to fail even more, because you're like, oh shoot, people are looking at me. People are watching me do this. So I need to make sure that I don't fail publicly, which sounds bad, but it's like, in a way it helps like a lot to understand that you need to have that accountability. But and also being able to set realistic timelines for when you're going to do stuff. Like, when are you going to start your business? What, like the dates? And we haven't, like in the past, even still today, we start timelines for ourselves and we don't even follow through with them sometimes. And you know how frustrating that is? It's like really frustrating, because certain things need to get done on time, but it's hard. You know what I mean? You have to stick to your timeline, because it allows you, it's almost like a homework assignment when something's due. Like if obviously most likely everybody's been in school.
The structure will keep you on a path to success.
Yeah. The structure, having that structure is like the framework for your business, because then without structure, you're never going to get anything done, really. You won't really, you'll get stuff done, but it's never going to be the time that you set in place for it, I guess you could say.
If you build a house on sinking sand, it's all going to crumble. If you build it on the rock, a firm foundation, which this is a biblical thing about our walk with Christ, but you could look at it business wise. You know what I mean? If you keep on doing all these random things that aren't holding up your business right, it could all crumble with one little thing being out of whack. So you need to make sure your foundation is strong.
Yeah. And also, I think the last practical step you can do is, obviously, and this goes without saying, praying every single time you have a hardship, praying for your finances, praying for the people that you're doing business with, or for yourself, for the people that are your future customers, future clients, all of those people. And obviously we're not always perfect about this, because life gets in the way and it gets hard. But it's like, I realize that when you pray about these things, you're able to appreciate what you have and how far you've come and what God has already blessed you with so far. And I think it makes you like even more motivated to do better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this is the second episode. We're going to be talking about,
in the next episode, we're going to be talking about teamwork. We're going to be talking about partnership, about relationship, and why that's important in your business and in
Yeah.
your walk with Christ. So God uses relationships to build and shape your assignment.
Yeah. The people around you will be your best friends for business, because when you're first starting, another big problem is not knowing who will be your customers, who will be your clients. I mean, this is how we started with our business, is like we started with the people around us. You know what I mean? Who do we know? You know, and some people say, don't go with family and friends, don't work with family and friends. And I get that. There's a lot of the times where that doesn't work and it's hard. But if you're talking to people about these things, like you're talking to your network about, hey, I do this, I run this business, I'm starting to do this, you'll be surprised how many people in your network need your services or product, whatever it is, just by talking to them about it.
Yeah. And you got to really like vet the people that you're around, and have biblical discernment, because there's going to be times where there's like even Christian entrepreneurs. They'll walk in there and say like, oh yeah, I'm a Christian business owner, but they have no idea what business is about. And their walk with Christ could be kind of shaky. And you're like, all right, dude, I am not going to you about any of this. And like, that can go without saying, but it's like, your thoughts can really be like, yeah, there's no way I'm talking to this person about this stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe I can help them. Like say like about your business or something like that.
Yeah.
The reason why you need to be prepared and be around others who will prepare is because, one, we could look at two are better than one. You can look into Ecclesiastes about that. It's also in the New Testament talking about where two or more are gathered, the Lord is with them.
Yeah.
And sure that like that comes down to like Holy Spirit's presence and everything like that. But when people are gathered, it builds strength. There's strength in numbers. There's strength and accountability. You know what I mean?
There's strength in prayer. There's strength in talking to your community about your business. I know for us, everybody within our church community literally knows that we help entrepreneurs, Christian entrepreneurs, with their business and stuff, and they'll come to us they'll have certain questions, and they want to have advice from us, whatever, and we talk to them about our business, or talk to whoever else that has their own business about business.
Yeah, and the biggest part about business too, I think we really have to focus in on being slow to speak and quick to listen, because sometimes whether it's that we're hearing someone like some wise words, or maybe it's something that we can reflect on and say like, okay, what can I do about this, or how can I help this other person based on just listening, and another form of figuring out why it's important to connect with people and why it's important to be around people in your network is you can look in Exodus, and I'll read this really quick. It's Exodus 18:17 through 23. Actually, let's see. So it says, so Moses' father-in-law said to him, the thing that you do is not good, or is not good. Both you and these people who are with you will surely wear yourselves out, for this thing is too much for you. You are not able to perform it by yourself. Listen now to my voice, and I will give you counsel, and God will be with you. Stand before God for the people, so that you may bring the difficulties to God. And I can continue from there. But what we're really seeing is that Jethro is, advising Moses about delegation. Yeah. He's not just saying like a bunch of random stuff. It's someone that he trusts, someone that's mentoring him, someone that can provide wise counsel. And those are the things that we need to be on the lookout for. Yeah.
And I think also just having, the understanding that you need to trust specific people for wise counsel. Don't trust everyone.
Not everyone's
don't let everyone pour into you and your business, because sometimes it may look great, but it's really not. And there's been many times where it's like we will turn things down or not want to do something with someone because of the, just having this certain feeling, or I guess more so discernment or something of, hey, I probably shouldn't work with this person, or I probably shouldn't do this. I probably, and having people kind of pray for you and your business, that you would have the discernment, that you would be able to know, like, kind of like for God to like prune your business and have, okay, let's have these people in there, let's take away these people.
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes it's like, you never know, like not all business is good business.
Yeah,
like,
we could also look at Proverbs. Proverbs 27:18, iron sharpens iron, as another man sharpens another, right? But not everybody's iron. You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
some people could be copper. Some people could, some people could be a completely different thing. And it's basically like they're not going to sharpen you.
yeah,
They might look cool, they might seem right, and they might have a place in somewhere, but they're not going to sharpen you the way that you should be sharpened.
This goes,
if anything, they could dull you out.
This goes along with like people in business and also customers and clients, because customers and clients sometimes look shiny and great and like, oh, this would be a great opportunity, or I really want them to buy this from me and I really want to sell this to them, whatever. But it's not like, it's not good sometimes, and you really would rather turn down that or not take them up on that offer, because for your own sanity, no, for your own future of like, I don't know how to put that, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's like, just to not have that stress later on. Because sometimes that like make or breaks businesses, where it's like, if you're dealing with someone that's crazy or that is put you through a lot, it makes you want to give up sometimes. And it's just like, you're
kind of like, I don't want to keep dealing with this.
I'm like, people are just like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Like, what do I do? And it's like, it puts a hardship kind of on people.
Yeah. So like when it comes to building your business, whether it's on your own or with many people, different tasks, different departments, whatever it may be, you have to think about the body of Christ, because we are called to be the body of Christ, right?
Yeah.
And so you look at 1 Corinthians and you see that, and it's like there are many parts of the body. You know what I mean? We have fingers, we have hands, we have eyes, we have, mouths, we have ears, all these different things, and they're all important in some kind of way.
Yeah.
They definitely don't do the same thing. You know what I mean? But they are all important to make sure that these things work. Yeah. And so contacting people who have experience in certain ways, or looking at people who need some support, because there's people who are called to be the veins, or who are called to be the arteries, you know what I mean? Get that blood pump into a part that might, not be doing so good. You get what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's cringe, but
yeah, I mean, it's kind of cringy, but think about it.
I mean, it's kind of cringy. But yeah.
So when you're getting through this, if you don't already have it, pray for divine connection. Pray that the Lord blesses you with these people and with these things, because that's pretty much the way we could really get through to things. Yeah. Like, if you're not in an area where you're constantly around people, obviously, like, you need prayer kind of to direct that.
I think too, like, a lot of the times we forget about that we have a God on our side that is gonna, fight for us, fight our battles, but it's like he wants the relationship with us, so we have to put in the effort to maintain and to grow that relationship and to water that relationship. So it's like everything in your walk, just on a day-to-day basis, but now with your business too. It's like you have to put that in and water your business and pray for your business and ask God to bring you connections and ask God to bring you the right people and ask God, is this right with this person, or is it wrong with this person, or is it like, and it's like, it's hard sometimes to know, because we can't do it on our own. We don't really know what is behind that door, because we can only see right in front of us, but God sees the other side. So it's like,
yeah. And if you don't already have it, if you're not already in church, get into prayer and find the right church. And we're not talking about like any church. You need to find a church with a good community that has strong and accurate theology, and one where you can truly grow, like where the Lord can grow you. Because you know what? You can't submit yourself to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, sure you can, but it's dangerous. You should submit yourself to some form of leadership, because if you can't manage yourself, you're just going to hurt yourself.
Yeah. And we should always, like, We should always be in community with one another, talking to each other about our businesses, whatever it is. That's how people used to do it back in the day. You know, like even in Jewish culture, we've said this many times. It's like, because we used to cater a bunch of Jewish events, but it's like they're always connected with one another. And it's like, that's a kind of part of a book, part of a piece of the book that we should take a piece of that advice or piece of what they're doing.
Yeah, we could look at what they're doing.
Let's take that. Yeah.
Take the good and understand.
Yeah, because they're constantly growing. So it's like, okay, that's good.
And obviously use biblical values to grow and everything like that. Yeah.
When God finally promotes promotes you to a place of like, okay, this is when you're going to start, whatever, this like,
the preparation keeps you there.
Yeah, the preparation keeps you there. And it's almost like riding a bike. You know how to ride it. Wait, that's like a really bad analogy.
No, it's like, well, it could be like riding a bike. Think about it. Like, it could be like riding a bike. There's moments where like you could step away from it for a while and you come back and you still remember it. You still, Yeah. And I think like too, okay, like so many people really want to just like always make sure that they're completely prepared and they know everything before they start. But it's like sometimes it's like marriage. You're never really going to be completely prepared. You could read all the books about everything, but you don't know
until you're in it. You're never really going to know. So sometimes like people are waiting for this sign or this next step move, but sometimes you just got to make the move.
If you spend enough time with God, sometimes the sign is literally just the idea.
Yeah.
Because like, think about it. Like if you are spending so much time with God and you're close with the Lord, that idea is already like God.
It's kind of like in the Bible. I was thinking of like Noah's Ark. It's like when God said to like build the ark and like
everyone thought he was an idiot.
Yeah, but like God said to build the ark and Noah didn't go, oh, like I guess should I not? Like he just did it and like started it and he just finished it and completed it and like was ready and prepared when it happened. But who knows? Like he could have been like, well, when God, when am I supposed to do this? And it's like in the Bible, it doesn't say when he said when, like that he said when. He just did it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I think like preparation is obviously part of the process, but it's part of starting the business. So it's like you're already started by preparing. So once you've already put in the work to prepare, it's time to start.
Well, yeah, one plank of wood doesn't make the whole ark.
It's just time to start. Yeah, because some people were like, well, I'm waiting for this and I'm waiting for that. And before you know it, it's been a year and a half and there's nothing done. So it's like sometimes there's a time for waiting. Okay. But I feel like God reveals why, or kind of like puts that in you to wait or something. Mm-hmm. Not all the time though. Sometimes it's just about starting. Like if he already gave you that idea to do something and gave you that like wisdom and discernment and has prepared you, I think it's just time to start. Yeah. Just plain and simple. Like,
and as you start, think about the Lord.
Yeah.
We could look at Deuteronomy 8:17 through 18, and you could look at how God says, or you could look at it how it says, like, remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth.
Yeah.
The wealth doesn't, there's potential for the enemy to use wealth against you and cause you to become like more greedy and like tempt you with it.
For sure.
But it's God who allows you to be able to build true wealth. And wealth doesn't just mean finances.
Yeah.
There's a wealth in wisdom. There's a wealth in knowledge. There's a wealth in relationship. There's a wealth in finances, of course.
Yeah.
And you put all that together, like finances, you could be rich financially, but that doesn't make you wealthy.
No. Yeah.
Wealth is something so much greater than that.
I was just reading that in Proverbs the other day when it's like, forgot what verse it was about, like it's not something about growing more, I don't even know. God grows you more wealthy with like wisdom creates wealth if that makes sense. But
Yeah, and
wisdom,
if you don't seek to be wise, then
yeah.
you
So
know,
like yes, there's monetary things that come along with that, but true wealth, I feel like, is having the ability to have wisdom, because wisdom can create things like knowing how to steward your finances, knowing how to start a business, knowing the skill, like having the skills. So really, in reality, you can always create more income, create more money, like, if that makes sense, because if you have the wisdom,
yeah,
you're able to know how to do that instead of just being bam, here's the money,
yeah.
that's that, you're rich, like whatever. It's like wisdom, you can always grow and evolve and learn more and have more and more wisdom.
If God didn't like allow you to go through certain things, you know what I mean? Like, if we could look at the parable of the bags of gold, and we could look at the other one where another part where it's talking about like, how can the Lord trust you with much if he can't trust you with little? You know what I mean? He is trusted with little, can be trusted with much.
Yeah.
If you were given the Powerball lottery ticket right then and there, or like say you have kids and you give them every single thing that they want, what's going to happen? They will not understand how to achieve that themselves. They will not understand how to be able to produce that for their next generation, for their kids. You know what I mean? To continue to serve God through that.
Yeah.
Because guess what? It was just handed to them. They didn't know how it got there. It just got there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and also, I think it's really important to note too that preparation doesn't end once you start your business. Like, you will always have to continuously prepare for the next phase, you know? And I think that's just about, like, that's just like your walk with God in general too. Like, you can really, like, you're always preparing for the next season or that season or like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like,
the other thing is like,
you can always learn more.
In preparation, preparing for the next season isn't you being spiteful. Preparing for the next season isn't being ungrateful either. You know, and I think people kind of find themselves feeling that way. Is like, well, if I'm preparing for the next one, does that mean that I'm not grateful for the season that I'm already in?
No.
It's like, no, you can be grateful and prepare for the next season. It's like, all right, God, thank you so much for this. Now, how can I take this and walk in the next one and walk stronger? Because going back, you should never be in the same place that you were a year ago.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like in your house or whatever.
Yeah.
You
but
know
obviously take time to rest. Like, when you do these things, it's so important. Like, when you start your business, it's so important to have a day, a week where you don't even think about business. And like, obviously we haven't always done that. And we've been kind of like not always the best at this, but I think especially when starting your business, it's so important to have just like one chill day, taking the Sabbath, you know, having that, because it's like you will burn out if you don't. Like,
we don't have
burns out
because the Lord is our rest. We don't have to observe technically, like religiously, the Sabbath, but it's good to give yourself that time to be able to rest mentally, because that's a good way to steward your mental health. So that way you could remain physically and emotionally and spiritually strong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And always make sure too that you are pointing people back to Christ in whatever you do, whether your business is Christ forward or it's just a business that you're a Christian and you have a business. Like, you know, like, always show people the love of God. And how you do this is by being like Jesus. You know, this is what you do, like, in your day-to-day life, you know, like taking the time to talk to people, taking the time to answer people's questions, taking the time to invite people to church or invite them to learn, like, whatever it is, Bible study or whatever the heck it is. I don't know. Like, that's so crucial for your success as like a Christian entrepreneur, because really our whole main focus and our whole goal beyond the business, because most of the time the business, it's to have monetary things and to fulfill your financial needs and whatever it is. To make sure
that you're living comfortably.
Yeah, to make sure you're living comfortably, whatever it is. But our whole goal in this life isn't just that. It's really to build the kingdom. So it's like, if you're building the kingdom in your business, whether that be through something as small or funny as like a pool cleaning business, then you're doing your job, because it's not just about success in the sense of like,
success isn't determined by somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Success is obviously the overall defining factor of success is God.
Yeah.
But just because yours is not the same way someone else has it doesn't mean you're not any less successful.
Yeah. It's just, it sometimes looks different. And I think that's okay, you know? And I think our main goal and everything that we do should be to build the kingdom. So, and that's exactly why we started doing this. You know what I mean? Because we realized how many people have a need for community and Christian community for entrepreneurs, because it can be lonely. You know what I mean?
I mean, some of the richest people are the biggest failures. And I'm not talking about like they found all the wrong ways to finally do it right. I'm talking about they did all these things to be able to get the money to chase after all these things. And a good statistic of rich people are depressed, anxious, lonely. They feel like everybody's just like, out for their money. And,
They have nothing like, they have nothing to like emotionally, like they can't, they don't feel good, I guess you could say. Mentally, emotionally, they're not good. But it's like, I think when God has sustained you and made you emotionally and mentally well, it's kind of like you're rich because you have that. So it's like no matter what happens in your business, it's kind of like, I told my brother this the other day. It's like, if I don't get everything that I want in the sense of my business, if I don't do everything that I want to do in my business, that's okay, because my treasure isn't here. Like, this life is temporary, and then we have heaven to look towards, you know, look towards. Yeah. So
to look forward to going to.
Look forward to going to. So it's like, I'm okay. If you think about it, I've already succeeded, and I'm not even fully into like completely like many years into my business, and I've already succeeded. Like, I'm already so blessed and I'm already doing well. Like, it's not what you would think it is that I'm talking about. Like, yes, have I succeeded in the sense of like, have I made more money? Have I been able to do more things? Do I have the freedom? Yes. But really what I'm talking about is like, I have people around me who are lifting me up. Exactly. I have my community. I have, number one, God, who I can go to at all points in the day and all points of the night and any time, and pray to him and talk to him and rely on him. And I don't have to really figure out a lot of the business stuff, because if it's meant to be, and as long as I'm putting in the work and the effort and preparing for the next season, God, whatever plans he has for me, will follow through on them and make me succeed. So, and it's like, and it's not to say that we're just lazy and we do nothing, but it's like, we have to prepare and God will do the rest. So it's always about preparation before.
Preparation leads to success.
Preparation. Yeah. No, but it's like preparation before the
reward.
Yeah. Preparation before the, yeah, it's something like that. I don't know. Preparation for the purpose. Preparation to find your purpose. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
And so persevere. It's like, you got to persevere through the times that you're not doing too good either. Because there's going to be moments where you might feel super low and maybe even lonely, and moments where you sacrificed so much to the point where you're like, what's going on, God? I sacrificed these things to build it up. Yeah. And I feel like I'm losing things. It's like, maybe sometimes the Lord's letting you be in that place of solitude while you're working, so he could work on you, and so that when you come out of that place of solitude, you could see all the blessings. It's like when you're stuck inside during a heavy rain, and it's like, it was right before, or right when you were like in a drought, right? And it's like the plants are dead, and you're like, God, I want to go outside. I want to go see the sun. I want to go do this. I want to go do that. and the rain finally stops. The sky is clear. The
Yeah.
sky is blue.
Yeah.
Maybe some clouds. There's birds chirping. There's bees going around the flowers, and everything is vibrant because you may have had to be inside and prepare,
Yeah.
but guess what? God did the rest, and now you get to walk
Step
out and
out,
see
yeah.
what He did. you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's a great place to end this there.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching this 4-part series.
Why are you telling me thanks for watching?
I'm just looking at you while I'm talking. Thanks for watching this.
Yeah, and we'll see you in the next one, guys.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.